What is up, Scrub fam? Scrub Familia. I'm back on the deck profile with one of the new leaders and new archetypes from the set. Before I get into that, let me give a shout out to my sponsor, Beard Collectibles. Beard Collectibles, Alec Pastrana, best shop owner of the planet, best sealed prices on the market. Go to beardcollectibles.com, pre-order your set 4 cases. They're only $720 for a case, $65 per box. Great value, great deals. Alec Pastrana, like I said, amazing shop owner, best customer service in the business if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super cards. So be sure to check out Beard Collectibles. So, I'm going to go into this deck profile off of one of the newest leaders and, of course, the archetypes that came out from this set. This is Jiren. This is the thickest boy you know. This boy goes in, he gets the job done. And this deck is surprisingly good. Like, this deck will steal a lot of games off of people, especially people that don't know what this deck does or don't know how to play against it. And a lot of the cards in this deck are incredibly powerful. And I want to give, like, a nod to Bandai because they design a lot of stuff not so good, right? And so the way they design the Universe 11 archetype is ideally how I think they should design cards going forward and how they should have in the past, where all your payoffs and all your incentives are built in and baked into this strategy. So right now you have the reward for playing all yellow with your 10-drop Jiren, right? You have to have 5 yellow to be able to cast it. You have the reward for being, you know, a Universe 11 leader because all these cards key off of the Universe 11 leader. Like, this is how sets and archetypes need to be designed to prevent things like we have, like with the different Universe 6 Saiyans just working in the Veggies deck with no problem at all. Like, if they wanted to design cards like that, they should have made it stick to, you know, niche things. Like, and I'm glad that they did that with Universe 11. So in going forward, whenever they design niche cards, I really hope that they stick with the model of Universe 11, because even Maidens, like, there's no incentive to use Rebrand Leader. Like, just use SS3 Goku. Like, the deck's just instantly better. It's infinitely better if you just use SS3 Goku as opposed to Rebrand. Whereas, like, Jiren can only use Universe 11 stuff. Universe 11 stuff can only key off of Jiren. And so he gets a really unique deck that no one else gets to play. So I think that's a great incentive. And, I mean, of course, there's a few things that I like, and hopefully they flesh out as we go forward, which is, like, adding in more key cards to this deck to make it even better, or even giving it access to an additional color by making Universe 11 cards in a different color. But so far, I really enjoy this deck archetype. It's probably my favorite deck to play at the moment. I know it's not a spike deck, but right now it's probably my favorite deck to play in testing. I have the most fun playing this deck as opposed to all the other decks I'm playing, which all the other decks I'm playing are hyper competitive, and so this deck gives me a good break from that. And this is a good deck that you can take to your locals, have a lot of, you know, success with it, because it's just, like I said before, something that your opponent doesn't really plan on, you know, playing against, so they don't really know what to do. And if they're not a Bloodlust leader, then it's almost like an auto win a large majority of the time, especially if your opponent never taps out, which people have to if they want to play their big, super amazing cards. So let's go ahead into the deck itself. So Jiren leader, as you guys know, he's pretty generic on the front side. So when he attacks a leader card, you draw 1 card, and then you awaken, you untap 2 energy. So a lot of people will look at my deck list and be like, whoa, you don't play no opening Sun Goku. Correct. I do not play no opening Sun Goku because there's no point in playing it with a leader that just draws a card on the front side. Like, awakening is really something only you want to do when you want a tempo turn. And so your tempo turn, you can generate that in a multitude of ways. And I like it because it forces your opponent to have to attack you in order for them to further their game plan. Because if you're never taking damage to yourself, you're sitting 8 life and you keep drawing cards, which this deck draws a ton of cards. It is hella consistent when it comes to drawing cards. Like, you're going to be able to get through your deck every single turn, and so your opponent's going to have to eventually turn the corner and start attacking you. And so that gives you such an advantage, because by that time that happens, you're already casting your topos and the thickest boy, absolute justice Jiren, right? So don't feel pressured to awaken in this deck, because you can drag the game out as long as possible, especially with the tools it has access to. So don't worry about that. And then on the backside, when this card attacks, draw a card, and then at the end of your turn, choose up to 2 of your Universe 11 battle cards and switch them to active mode. So yeah, I get it's like Galactic Emperor, but with this deck, it really fits the theme, because you want to make sure that your creatures survive, so you have them available to you to attack the next turn, or so you can continue to play your big drop like Jiren if you want to play a second one. So that is Jiren Leader. And so I know everyone's like, man, Jiren Leader's bad. No, Jiren Leader is great. He's phenomenal. He's great in this archetype. And I can't wait to see what happens going forward. So let me go ahead and go to the cards itself. So let's go into my defense cards. So we have Kokade Zone. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kokade Zone? Kosade Zone? Kokade Zone? Kosade Zone? Yeah. Anyway, but I love this negate. Negate this attack. If you're lead card Universe 11, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So this is such an amazing tempo swing. Your opponent swings with your leader. They only have one battle card out. You can negate it and basically tap down the other creature. So then you'll be able to swing into it with something the next turn, or just completely shuts down an opponent's turn in general if they have multiple battle cards out. So I love this card. For Crusher Ball, this card with Jiren is incredible. Mostly because the combination with Secret Vitality Jiren, which I'll get into in a few minutes, and how that card is probably the best card in the entire deck. But Crusher Ball, it's making a huge comeback this format. There's tons of things that you want to come into play tap that you don't necessarily care about bloodlusting. And I don't want to say bloodlust has gotten worse, but there's so many different cards that you have to worry about bloodlusting now that, like the card just loses value over the course of a game. Because it's like, if I bloodlust this 3-drop, like, my opponent's going to be able to play their 4-drop, like, and so on and so forth. And then 3 Master Roshi. I know people are like, why aren't you playing Nimbus? In this deck specifically, I'm not playing Nimbus because I'm playing Kokade Zone, Kokade Zone. So I don't feel the need to play a neg-2, which Flying Nimbus would be for me, because that negate kind of does it all. And plus you also have access to your combo Dispo, which also acts as a defensive card. So I'm playing 3 Master Roshi. I just like that it's just a neg-1, comes onto the board, you can combo with it for the negate. So it puts in a lot of work there. In the SS3 red-yellow deck, I did switch over to Flying Nimbus, because I felt like I could go ahead and maximize off of that. So if you guys check out that deck list on my Shinron's Lair account, you can see that there. Next, we have 4 Swift Warrior Dispo. So Dispo is great, simple. At the end of battle, combo this card into play, essentially. So your opponent swings at you, you tap, play a Dispo, and that's another creature on board. So that helps you further your game plan. And then we go to cards that help give you momentum. So for Youthful Bulma, it's just a cantrip, and I really like having cantrips in this deck, especially when you have a leader that attacks and draws a card, because essentially you play the Bulma, replaces itself, swing with Jiren, draw a card. Like, you've plussed and you've gotten through more of your deck. And honestly, one of the best cards, Tupper, because he's always going to hit. Tupper's always going to get you something special, and when you have a deck that relies off having multiple creatures in play, having a really valuable 1-drop makes everything better. So Tupper, usually I'll play 3 to 4 copies of him per game, and he does a ton of the work for me when I'm trying to set up for Absolute Justice Jiren. Now let's go into our more so supporting characters. So 3 of hero combination Vaughn, the most handsome boy in the entire world. During your turn, if another Universe 11 battle card is in play, it gains plus 5k. So he's a 2-drop 15k, and then at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. So you don't have to use your effect on this on the back, and you can swing with it every single turn, and don't have to risk your opponent being able to swing back into it because it untaps. This card's great. I play 3 copies of it. 3 hero combination Kunchi. This is your one way to be able to awaken yourself, but this is a way to do it with gaining value across the course of the game. So instead of just taking a life to hand, you just have the ability to tap down your opponent's creatures and then swing into them. So I'm a really big fan of Kunchi, one of my favorite cards to play. If you ever get multiple out, like, you can do some pretty silly things, especially with your Secret Vitality Jiren. So this card's great. You have your super combo, which is, again, great. Play it when you're at 5 life, plus 10k draw card. We have our 2 hero combination Zoiray. Zoiray is my boy. Zoiray is a blocker that does not die on the first swing. So you get a free block with him, and if your opponent wants to kill him, he has to swing into him again in order to get him off the board. So it does a ton of work for you across the course of the game, but I don't like to get flooded with these, so I just play 2. We have other supporting character here, combination Ketal. So this card is great, just has barrier, and then permanent. If there are 2 more Universe 11 in this place, card gains plus 5k and double strike. You don't need to play more than 2 copies. Some people do, they play 3 or 4. I just don't think it's necessary since it has barrier, and you're never going to hard cast it. You're only going to cast it off of Topo. So I really don't see the need to play multiple copies, and there's other cards you'd rather play over this when you play your Topo, especially, wherever you are in the game. And then, lastly, like, our main cards, so the focal points of the deck are Secret Vitality Jiren. This card is absolutely insane. It's so good in so many matchups, and there's no restrictions on you. So when you play this, any creature that's tapped, aside from a battle card in rest mode, you just discard a card and you just get to kill it, and you kill up to 2. This is great against any of the veggie decks that are out there. This is why Crusher Ball's so awesome. This is why Kunchi's so awesome. Like, you just want to be able to tap down your opponent's guys, play Secret Vitality Jiren, it's a total blowout. And then if your opponent has to spend a Bloodlust on it, if you're playing as, Mecha Veggies or Ginyu Veggies and they Bloodlust it, like, that's cool because you now know that you're going to be able to cast your Topo the next turn. So, it's pretty dope. So, I have no issues with Secret Vitality Jiren. I think this card is incredible. I love playing it. Every single time I play it, Like, it's just a total blowout. My opponents that I play against, like, they're so scared of this card because they know it's there. And I play 4 copies. You're going to play 4 copies because it's incredible. So, love this card. 4 Ally of Justice Topo. So, when you play this card, if your leader is Universe 11, look at the top 10 cards of your deck. Choose the 2 Universe 11 among them with energy cost 3 or less, and place them into play in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So, this is really a great setup turn. So you start playing your Tuppers or your Vaughns and your Kunchis on board, and then you get to your turn 4, you Ally of Justice Topo, you put into play 2 of your drops, whether if it's, you know, a Jiren plus a Ketal, or, you know, double Jirens or something, because like sometimes you can just get the total blowout turn where you double Jiren. Gross. But essentially, this will set you up for your turn 5, which is your Absolute Justice Jiren. And when you're Awakened, you'll just untap the 2 battle cards that came into play, or if they're double Vaughn, which is possible, you'll end up just untapping those at the end of the turn anyway. So Topo, needed in this deck. He's big. He's a big boy, 20k, and he's just dope because he's Topo. And then, lastly, the home run hitter, the reason why you play this deck, the reason why you play this archetype, the payoff, which I can't stress. Like, having a payoff for doing something, for choosing to play a particular deck or a niche deck is the most important thing when it comes to designing a game. Because it's like, you want to give players a reason to pick up this deck and play it. And this card is the reason why. Because when it comes into play, it does everything you want. So it gets an energy cost reduced by 1 for each Universe 11 in your battle area. So this ends up becoming a 5-drop. Like, that's the goal. So 5 yellow, and then when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards in energy and rest mode and place them in the drop area, and it has quadruple strike. This card is insane. This card is a total blowout. Like, your opponent's not going to be able to do anything against you. It's absolutely disgusting. So when you play this card, you're gonna wipe some smiles off of people's faces. And that's the payoff of this deck. And I love that this card is the payoff, and it's super sweet, and the art's great, and it's totally fitting of Jiren, because he's a juggernaut. When he comes down, he's going to make things happen. He's going to ruin your day. Like, he's the strongest dude in Dragon Ball Super. Like, this should be his card, and I'm glad it is. And then lastly, we just run 2 black cards in the deck. We run 2 Scientist Fu. This is our only black card slot in the deck. And your sideboard would honestly probably be Mass Saiyan, so you can get that extra removal, you know, the one that, you know, wipes the board essentially. But Scientist Fu is great because it adds more momentum to the deck, and it's a 1 energy threat that draws 2 cards. So, great card. Other considerations if you want a sideboard would be Battering Lasers if you're playing against a Bloodlust matchup. That's more than fair. You could do something like cut a Roshi, cut a Bulma, or something like that to just get those Battering Lasers into the deck. But other than that, this is the list. I've had a ton of success with it so far. I love to play it, and I know that once you guys pick up this, you'll enjoy it as well. And honestly, tweak it, make it something that you like, or, you know, make the changes that, you know, I suggested, or just put your own spin on it. But hopefully, you guys enjoy this video and you enjoy my talk about this deck. Honestly, like I said, it's probably my favorite deck of the set to play right now. I know it's super simplistic because the deck almost builds itself because all the cards are given to you, but you can do some stuff with the ratios and make it really cool. So take some time, explore the new archetypes that are released. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great Friday tomorrow and a great weekend. I'll see you soon with another video. Check out my Training Rounds later if you guys want to see the decks that I'm currently brewing. I have a few of them up there. I have a Universe 7 Frieza list. I have updated Red Yellow list. I have updated Ginyu list. I have a SS3 Apes deck that is spicy. That plays hit. Like, check it out. And then, of course, I'll be doing deck profiles as well, and hopefully some more gameplay videos, because I don't do enough of those, but I need to do those. But anyway, thank you guys so much for all your support. Go to beardcollectibles.com. Be sure to order your product. And then also, if you want to get a 3XG shirt with hashtag ScrubFam on the back, check that out too. Shirts are decently priced. Anything that you do helps contribute to my cause, but you don't have to. Otherwise, subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. Have a great weekend. Okay, bye!